Hey there, Sark Brave Exvius back, taking a little break from the Murder Bunny series to have some fun with our best girl, Neovision Physalis. Now the Genies trial came out a few weeks ago. Finally got a chance to do a lot of different strategies tackling this one, and so I'm going to show you 4 different ways that we can get all missions clear with Neovision Physalis. I will say if you have Ibarra makes this trial much easier because she can just lightning chain the day away until you get all the Genies dead. Physalis makes it a little trickier since her only AoE move is her limit burst that does any appreciable damage. And so she needs some support chains to be able to land those LBs on everybody at the cap. Now for this one, the missions are evoke an Esper, defeat the Genies party within 8 turns, and a party of 5 or less. I'm going to do 4 different strategies. Each one will be an all missions clear. So hopefully one of these will be helpful to you if you're missing a unit or something like that. So I'm going to start with the 5-turn clear. This one's not easy to do unless your Physalis is quite strong. The team restrictions on this one are pretty tight. You definitely want to have Savior of Souls Lightning as that provoke unit. She's also going to come in handy with her 90% spirit break on one of the Genies. Also, of course, her 85% AoE break really comes in handy. You notice she's built at 160 fire and wind and 250 dark. That's because she can buff her own fire and wind by 90%. You want to make sure you can get to 250% because the Genies will imperil by 150 to fire, wind, and dark. You also want to make sure you have a good strong physical tank. I'm bringing my my Gabranth because that's all that I have. He's the best physical tank that I have, and so he's going to be the one who's going to take all the hits. Physalis here is basically just built full-on fairy killer, pretty easy to do for her since she has it innately, and then full limit burst damage in both the normal form and the base form. That's really important. You want to make sure you have full limit burst in both forms, both the base and in the Brave Shift form. Really, there's not a whole lot of difference between the builds here. It's just in the Brave Shift form, we're able to throw in the GF extension because she already hits the TDW cap. Relm is of course here for the Rod Imperil, but also to do Thundaga chains with Lightning. You'll notice I gave Lightning the Rama Esper because Rama can give any unit Thundaga. And so then as long as she can dual cast alongside with Relm, those Thundaga chains to actually build up the chain for Physalis to cap. And you'll see I use that pretty much in all of the clear videos that I'm going to show you. It's just using different units to make those chains. My friend unit here is pretty much similar to mine, except a little beefier. But that's really what it's going to take in order to clear this trial in 5 turns. So let's see how we get it done. So if your Physalis isn't quite that strong and you don't think you can pull off the 5-turn kill, don't worry. Physalis can still easily take care of this in 7 or 8 turns by just following probably arguably an even simpler strategy that I'll show you here. Basically the builds stay the same, again using SoS Lightning as the provoke unit with 160 fire wind resistance, 250 dark, equipped with dual cast and given Ramo Esper for the Thundaga chains that she'll chain with Relm. If you don't have Relm, don't worry, I'm going to do another clear after this one that has NVA Lightning, the original OG Lightning, for the gun imperil, which works just as well. And then my last clear won't have any kind of weapon imperil at all. Again, using Gabranth, I think you could easily make this work with some of the other physical tanks. If I had one, I would try and do it, but unfortunately Gabranth is the only one that I have that can make this work. If you don't have a good physical tank, you can always just forget the 5-man mission and bring a unit that's solely there to re-raise your physical tank, because you can literally just re-raise Cheese It and just have your physical tank die and re-raise every turn. There's no death mission, so you know, easily can take care of that. You see I've toned down my Physalis here on this one, and the friend unit that I'm bringing is a pretty similar build to this one, so not quite as strong as the one that I used in my 5-turn KO mission, but as you'll see, she can still do a considerable amount of damage in this fight. If you're really struggling with it, you know, honestly, just wait until you get some better gear. There's not really any stress to get that 8-turn clear mission. It's really just for bragging rights. So the best part of the rewards is that killer materia anyways. So you see Relm again there with the Thundaga chains. That's really, she's just there for the imperil and to chain. And then here we've got my friend unit, again very similar build to mine, not nearly as strong as the one that I brought in the 5-turn KO. So hopefully this one's a little more reasonable, something that you could probably build yourself if you're interested in tackling this trial and trying to get that all mission clear. So let's see how this goes. 7 turns, let's get to it. Alright, so now I'd like to show you how we do this with Neovision Awakened Lightning, or OG Lightning as we like to call her. So again, everything pretty much stays the same except Relm is switched out, and our builds for our Physalis is going to, they're going to be a little different because now we're going to be using guns instead of rods for the weapon imperil. So again, using SoS Lightning for my my provoke unit, Gabranth for my physical tank. I'll do a different provoke unit in my final clear, as you'll see. I'll be using Paladin Cecil for that one, if you need an example of a provoke unit besides SoS Lightning. So here's Physalis, and we're using Blue Storm and the Peacekeeper Special, which was from her event. Hopefully you picked that one up because it's really useful on her, providing that 25% magic TDW. Which is really nifty. Also one of the higher attack guns if you don't happen to have 2 blue storms, which I don't. I only have 1, so it comes in handy in this particular case. You can see that otherwise the build is pretty much exactly the same except we're using guns. And yeah, still you want to hit that 300% limit burst damage in both builds. And here's our Neovision Awakened Lightning. Again, gave her a Thundaga. Which, if you're wondering, that's 3-star Kryles TMR, if you're wondering where that materia comes from. So yeah, Neovision Awakened Lightning, nothing really special here, because she's literally just here for the gun imperil. She's not actually going to really be doing any appreciable damage. She's just here to chain. So I gave her dual cast with Ravenheart, but if you want to use a dual cast materia instead, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. So nothing too crazy different about this particular team. You'll see my friend here is equipped. He comes with 2 blue storms, lucky duck, a much better build than mine when it comes to the guns. But still, even if your Physalis isn't quite as strong as the ones that you're seeing here, I think she should still be able to do this in 8 turns using this strategy. You'll notice I clear it in 7 turns, but if you don't quite kill all the genies on turn 7, then you'll just do another limit burst on turn 8, and that should finish everything off. Alright, so let's take this team in and let's see what we can do with it. So this last clear is just to prove that you don't need SoS Lightning or a weapon imperil of any kind. Here I'm using Paladin Cecil as my provoke unit. I've built him with 250% wind and dark and only 180, although you only need 170% fire because he can buff his own fire by 80%. That gets all the elements covered. He also has his own provoke skill. So he'll be my provoke, and he'll also be doing some chaining. Again, Thundaga chaining. He'll be doing that with the Neovision Awakened Kefka that I'm bringing along. Gabranth, again, my physical tank. Again, sorry I don't have another physical tank I can use here to show you guys. I'm sure you can make it work though. Here I'm just making my Physalis as strong as possible. Pretty much the same build as I did in my very first clear. You may need a stronger Physalis in order to get this done in 8 turns. But yep. Probably, it doesn't need to be incredibly OP. You know, you don't need to have all the best gear to make this work. I think you could still make it work even with a slightly less beefy one. My Kefka here, I've just made him as strong as I can, but he's really not going to be contributing that much. He, of course, comes with his own Thunder Elemental CWA chains that he'll be chaining with Cecil. I gave Cecil the Arrhenius ring in order to quad cast the Thundaga, which he'll be able to do with Kefka. That makes it a little bit easier to time Physalis's limit burst to cap that damage. It's a little bit harder with the dual cast Thundaga chains. So here again, my friend unit just is pretty much as strong as you can make it. 300% killers, 300% limit burst damage in both forms. You'll see I get the Genies down pretty close to dead on turn 7, so I think there's a bit of wiggle room here, but you might need a stronger Physalis in order to make this particular clear work. So let's see how we get it done. So thank you so much for watching. I hope at least one of these strategies was helpful for you, or at the very least entertaining. If you have any questions about the rotation or anything, I've put some links to the rotation that I've actually written out. I think it's a lot easier to see it in writing rather than have it flashing up on the screen at you the whole time. So I've put a couple of links, one to the Brave Exvius forums, one to Reddit, whichever platform you prefer, and I've actually written out the rotation guide for you there if you'd like to have that to see while you're watching these. Again, thank you so much for watching. Look forward to a couple of episodes of Guardians of the Farplane. Now that Esther has rejoined the cast, the next episode will actually include Esther and Physalis taking on the Genies together, and we'll see how that works. And with that, this is Sart Brave Exvius saying, see you on the other side.